All right, the AFC West, 8 wins, over or under. So I got the Kansas City Chiefs on top, followed by the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Chargers, and then the Las Vegas Raiders. So Kansas City Chiefs, they made it to the Super Bowl, 3rd year in a row. They got their guy, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, again, the same duo, along with their favorite cheerleader, Taylor Swift. So Kansas City Chiefs, over. I think that they will get over 8 wins. They do have the refs holding their hands. I think they're going to continue to hold their hands a little bit. And they really didn't lose too much. I think they signed Juju Smith-Schuster. Xavier Worthy was their top receiver. They did lose DeAndre Hopkins, who was pretty much Butterfingers in the Super Bowl. But other than that, they still have the same defensive players and defensive coach. So I think that they get at least 10 wins.
Yeah, so just looking at the biggest thing is, if you're superstitious or not, the Kansas City Chiefs being the Super Bowl loser, a lot of the times the Super Bowl loser doesn't come back to the Super Bowl. They were the only ones in a long time that went from the Super Bowl loss to the potential AFC Championship game and then lost to the Cincinnati Bengals the last time they lost in the Super Bowl. So the biggest thing is that Super Bowl losing, that what they call a hangover. But to me, 11-6, 13-4 is the spread. To me, I think it's going to be 12 wins for this season.
Yeah, I think that they can beat out their division. The Raiders won't be tough, so there's 2 wins there. Chargers are kind of hit or miss, but I think they beat the Chargers and the Broncos.
I think the Chargers finally put one on them at least once. Maybe in Mile High.
All right, Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, they got their new head coach that last season. And then they have Bo Nix, who this would be his 2nd season. He was a rookie last season. They made it to the playoffs, and nobody actually thought they would actually make it to the playoffs, but they did anyway. However, they go out and they get Dre Greenlaw. I think he was a former 49ers linebacker. So they beefed up their defense a little bit, which is good. Offensively, they have Evan Ingram, Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton. So as long as they keep developing offensively, they can eventually contend in the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs. I think they get at least 9 wins this season.
Right. So, to me, the biggest concern will be Bo Nix's sophomore slump. Is he going to have one? And if he does, how long will it be? He's a decent quarterback. He's shown that he can have moments where he is the leader of that. The biggest plus about it is that they revamped their team. Their defense is definitely revamped. They got a couple of guys in San Francisco. They are going to integrate that old New Orleans Saints defense that was really good with Sean Payton, who's his 3rd year, not his 2nd year. To me, 8-9, 9-8, and they're going to be about an 8.5 win margin, only because we got to see what Bo Nix can do, especially with concerns. I don't know who's running the ball for them. Who's their running backs going to be? They need to have a balanced offense around him. I think they have a passing attack, but who's running the ball?
Yes, their top running back at the moment is Jaleel McLaughlin, who only had 496 rushing yards. So maybe perhaps in this upcoming draft, they go out and they get themselves a top-tier running back. Bo Nix, it was only his rookie season. He gets 29 passing touchdowns and 12 interceptions. And he was pick 12 of that draft. So you never know who later in the first round could be a top-tier quarterback in this league in the future. He was probably one of the most successful rookie quarterbacks of this past season.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the Chargers.
All right. So the Chargers, Justin Herbert, he's still one of their top quarterbacks. He is their quarterback. Quentin Johnston is okay, but Ladd McConkey, he is phenomenal. Over 1,000 receiving yards. They lost Joey Bosa, but we'll see just how they can play it out in this division. I think they will definitely beat the Raiders both times. I think that they'll be a decent team. There's going to be some great matchups between the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Broncos. Just those three teams in general will be fun to watch. But I think that they will get around just at 8 wins.
I think the Chargers, they're definitely going to have a different change in defensive styles. It's going to be one of those years that Ladd McConkey is going to be one of the guys that they're going to target the most. But you're going to need more weapons. And the biggest concern I have is, are they going to be able to dominate in the running game? They let go of J.K. Dobbins. They don't have a running back that I feel like is going to help make that balanced offense.
Well, they picked up Najee Harris that was on the Steelers. He had over 1,000 rushing yards.
Najee, even on Pittsburgh, and Steeler fans can tell you, he's good, but he's not the guy that they're used to having as a Steeler running back. To be honest, 6-11, 7-10, about 6.5 wins for the Chargers. It's only because I have to see more from this team. They started out really good last year, and just I don't know what happened. They looked tough. They looked like they were going to be the team that dethroned the Chiefs, and then nowhere.
Yeah, they still have Khalil Mack. He only had 6 sacks this past season. I think he had more production previously, but Khalil Mack is 34. He's getting up there in age.
Right. Now, the one thing that is going to work into their benefit is every year that Harbaugh's been a coach, he has improved every single year. He has built a strength that was a weakness. So maybe that happens again this year, because he went from just missing the playoffs when he was with the Niners to making the Super Bowl to making the NFC Championship game, and then the cliff fell.
Yeah, he's the Harbaugh. He's pretty good. He was Michigan? He won the championship with Michigan.
Yeah, and he improved as a college coach too. But The biggest thing is, what are they going to do with this team? It's not college, where he had some success recruitment happened. But this is the NFL. You can't just recruit talent. You have to play the wheel of fortune and be able to get guys on your team with X amount of money.
All right, moving on. The last place team we think is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. They pick up Geno Smith from the Seattle Seahawks. So hopefully, he can do something different over there on the Raiders. They have Raheem Mostert, who's a solid running back. Jacoby Myers, decent wide receiver. Brock Bowers, who's a phenomenal tight end. That's probably their top target right there. Brock Bowers, who's a huge, huge player in their offense. 1,194 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns for just Brock Bowers. And he's only played 1 season so far. And on the defense, Max Crosby, who could have gone to a different team to win championships, but decided to take the money, stays as a defensive end for the Raiders.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with the Las Vegas Raiders is Pete Carroll is coming in. though Pete Carroll was successful in every spot that he's ever been in the NFL, the biggest thing is he's going into a team that did not have the pieces there. So, for example, when we're talking about the pieces there, Seattle, when he was there, they already had Marshawn Lynch. They already had a couple of the things that was successful in offense. And that year, they just got lucky and got into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's not going to be able to win now. You might as well go ahead and give that up if you're a Raider fan. He's going to give you a competitive team, and he's going to build from there. Because he went from a 7-9 Seattle Seahawks team, then he went to being in the divisional round with Russell Wilson, going into the Super Bowl with 2-year pro Russell Wilson, going and facing Tom Brady the next year, and then he was in the NFC Championship game a lot of those seasons, and then fizzled out at the end when the old faithful cap space and business side of the NFL started showing its ugly face. So I think Geno Smith, picking up that guy, gives them an answer to quarterback. Is he a solution? Absolutely not. I think he's just a guy that is going to at least make the offense move and sell tickets. They need to get a quarterback. They need to have a long-term answer. So I'm hoping they're going to try to get a Shedeur Sanders, let him develop, and then put him in and let go of Geno Smith. Because they need a long-term answer, and they need to have somebody that is going to put butts in seats in that expensive stadium.
Yeah, Pete Carroll, he's 70-plus years young. He's not getting any younger. And you have Geno Smith. So Geno Smith is familiar with Pete Carroll as the coach.
Yeah.
Geno Smith being 34 years young, getting up there in age as a quarterback. This past season, he threw 21 touchdowns, but 15 interceptions. That's quite a bit of interceptions there.
Yeah, and to me, this team, I said anywhere between 5-12 and 6-11, based on their schedule and based on what they did in free agency, and 5.5 wins. And looking at what Vegas says 6.5 wins for this team. So it's not too far off what I was predicting and what everyone else has been predicting about the Raiders.
I think the Raiders are going to get swept by their whole division. All three of these other teams are just going to destroy them, in my opinion. Yeah, they're going to destroy them, and
there may be one. I think they may take one from the Chargers.
Yeah, there might be one upset here and there.
Yeah, but honestly, it's a year that they're gonna try to figure out who they have on their team so they can build a longer success. But Pete Carroll, like you said, is getting old, so he's gonna have to come in with a different mentality because the Raiders need to have somebody that's going to make a winning team.
Yeah, they need to draft a quarterback. Now, the drafting of a quarterback doesn't have to go in the fire right away. They can sit behind and see how it operates at the NFL level, and then use that young quarterback for the next season and see how it plays out. I don't think Aiden O'Connell is a solution. They tried that last season, and that didn't work. So any final thoughts?
I'm pretty good with what I'm thinking. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders, just like last year, just a little bit more a different result because the Broncos did make the playoffs, and right now I project them to be outside looking in.
Yep, exactly. So that's the AFC West.
Hey, be the hero of your own story. Subscribe to Go Pack Go all day, and see you in the next one.
Travis tried to propose, and I was all like, shake it off, whoa.